Hello and welcome to Overbooked Booktalks. My name is Kari. I'm with the Mount Airy Branch Library, part of Carroll County Public Library, and I'm so glad you could join me today. For Overbooked Booktalks, I give you a brief overview and description of one of my current favorite reads, something that I think would be great to read by yourself, but also share with friends, whether it's in a formal book group setting or just casually for discussion amongst you and someone else. So last month I featured a young adult novel, even though this is an adult book club book discussion. And this month I got a lot of really great responses from that. So I'm doing another YA book that I think is going to be really super popular, not just with the older young adult crowd, but also with adults as well. And it's really fascinating. So this one that I want to talk to you about is Firekeepers Daughter by Angeline Boulet. I usually try to find a book that is newer, but that we still have a lot of copies available so that it's really easily accessible to you. This one is a little bit trickier because there's been a lot of buzz about it. It just came out earlier this year, just a couple of months ago. And it's already it already has a hold list, but it's not an overwhelming hold list. Our YA books often don't have the same kind of really long hold wait that a lot of the popular adult books do. So I just checked, and CCPL, we have it in physical book format. We have it in audiobook format. We have it online through Overdrive as well, in audio and the ebook version. If you don't have an Overdrive account already, you can check that out on our website. It's just www.library.carr.org. So library.car with two R's .org, and you can find it under our resources on that homepage. So Firekeeper's Daughter, let me go ahead and I'll get to the meat of this wonderful book. So it is in our YA section. Like I mentioned, I would say it's for older YA. Sometimes some books in our YA section are kind of great for middle schoolers and kids who are just getting into longer books. This one is like a true teenage and up. As far as the reader. I've heard a couple of people compare it to like a modern day Nancy Drew, Indigenous Nancy Drew. I think that's a really oversimplification of this book. This is like a true mystery thriller book. It's realistic. It's not terribly graphic, but it does depict some death and sexual assault, and there's a little bit of language in it. So it really is directed toward a more mature audience. But Firekeeper's Daughter, the author Angeline Boulet, this is her debut novel. She comes from an Ojibwe community in Michigan, and she just has an amazing background. And she has been working on this book. As you know, I really like debut authors because a lot of times their first books are just really so thoughtful and well done, and they've had a really long time to put all of their experiences into this first book, and that's what I find with this. I look forward to what she writes in the future, but this one's going to be a really hard book to top. So let me read the inside flap to you, and then I'll give you some of my impressions of the book as well. So here we go. 18-year-old Donis Fontaine has never quite fit in, both in her hometown and on the nearby Ojibwe reservation. She dreams of a fresh start at college, but when family tragedy strikes, Donis puts her future on hold to look after her fragile mother. The only bright spot is meeting Jamie, the charming new recruit on her brother Levi's hockey team. Yet, even as Donis falls for Jamie, she senses the dashing hockey star is hiding something. Everything comes to light when Donis witnesses a shocking murder, thrusting her into an FBI investigation of a lethal new drug. Reluctantly, Donis agrees to go undercover, drawing on her knowledge of chemistry and Ojibwe traditional medicine to track down the source. But the search for truth is more complicated than Donis imagined, exposing secrets and old scars. At the same time, she grows concerned with an investigation that seems more focused on punishing the offenders than protecting the victims. Now, as the deceptions and deaths keep growing, Donis must learn what it means to be a strong Anishinaabe, Kwe, Ojibwe woman, and how far she'll go for her community, even if it tears apart the only world she's ever known. Firekeepers Daughter is an electrifying thriller layered with a rich exploration of the modern Native experience, a reckoning of current and historical injustices, and a powerful celebration of the community. So as you can see, this is a pretty thick, it's a little bit thicker than some of the books I've shown you. It's just shy of 500 pages, which is pretty long for a book, but I'll show you some of these pages. A lot of YA books are like this. The text isn't as dense on the page, so it really doesn't take quite as long to read. And it really is a page turner. It really goes quickly. I know some of the books that I like to show you here on Overbooked Book Talks are books that I find really thoughtful and contemplative and sometimes take a little bit longer to get through. This one is really, really well hashed out. The plot moves really quickly. It's really like a true thriller, which I think is why it is appealing to so many people, such a wide audience. The reason I showed it to you now as well, even though it is a super new book and we do still have holds on it, I think the popularity for this book is only going to grow and grow as word gets out. It has already gotten the green light for a Netflix TV series, so it's already gotten funding for it as a show, which I cannot wait to watch, but that's like really, really quick. You know, in the last couple of years with Netflix and Amazon and Apple TV kind of producing their own media, the process is taking from like book to screen is taking really, really a fraction of the amount of time. So I think it's going to be a good book to look out for. You're going to hear a lot of people who've either already read it or want to talk to you about it after they've read it, which is why I picked it for Overbooked Book Talks. So like it says on the cover, Donis Fontaine, she has a white mother who she has kind of grown up with. Her father still lives in this Ojibwe community, and her half-brother Levi lives there as well. So she kind of returns to that part of her life and her community to take care of a sick relative. So as she is doing this, she's really showing, the author's really showing really the reality of what it means to be Native in this country, in this time. I know a lot of other books kind of in the past have shown Native Americans kind of in this very like idyllic kind of setting that is kind of historical. This really shows the beauty of that community and their traditions and their bonds, but also shows what they're dealing with like on a larger scale. There's a lot of distrust in that community of the government, of the FBI, of the local police force. They've had a lot of interventions and just bad blood between those groups historically, which I think is very true of the actual Native communities in this country. So you can kind of see where those tensions lie, which, like I said, when some people have referred to this as like a modern day Nancy Drew, I think they're really reveling in the fact that this is like a really exciting mystery thriller aspect, but I do think that's a really oversimplification of it. I think this like stacks up with all of the mystery thrillers that are out there in YA and adult that have been really, really fascinating and really popular. And, you know, not only is it a beautiful book cover that we have here, it's a really fascinating story. So definitely check it out. Like I said, the hold list on this, there are holds on it, but it's not super long right now. So it should go pretty quickly. If you go ahead and put a hold on the book, you can come in to pick it up. just like you would normally. We are open in our stage 2 phase of the library right now. Or if you're picking up the physical book or the physical CDs, the audio book, you can still use our express service where you just place the book on hold. When you get an email, you click on the link to set up a time to come in and pick up your express book. We'll already have it bagged up for you with the receipt and already checked out. You just come in, grab the bag, and go. And then, like I said, we also have this in our ebook and audiobook format on Overdrive. So check out our website and Overdrive if you don't already have an Overdrive or Libby account. And I highly recommend it. I really enjoyed it and look forward to future books from this author as well. So definitely leave some information in the comments if you've read the book or if you have any questions or suggestions for future Overbooked Book Talks. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks again for joining me.